Welcome to the Let's Talk Basic podcast, where girls talk about everything basic.
Join us as we sit down with a glass of wine and see where the conversation goes.
Kick back,
relax,
and get ready for the ultimate girls' night in.
I'm your host, Joanne.
And I'm Vanessa.
Welcome back to this week or this year.
2020! We gotta cheers to that. Come
Cheers! Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
I wish we had like a 2D thing.
We should be wearing hats.
I know.
We missed it. Oh well.
Yes. Okay.
Next year. Awesome. So this is our first podcast back in January. It's 2020. Like, I can't believe it's a new year.
I'm so excited.
Filled with new hope and opportunity.
I know. The year is so bright.
Everything is very positive right now. I think everyone's very optimistic. And I have to ask you this, Joanne.
Yeah.
Are you one of those people that believe in New Year's resolutions?
Yeah. I am.
I'm going to stop the podcast now.
Why? Doesn't everybody? Isn't that like a thing?
I have okay. Let me preface
I feel like there's a rant coming.
Okay. So it's not that I don't believe in New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
I hate the pressure of it.
Okay.
Okay. So I feel like New Year's resolution has a bad rap.
Okay.
Because people make them, they break them, and then they get criticized about it, and they have to be accountable for them.
Right.
Right? And I think that's the part that scares me. And I know that, like in everything in life we have to be accountable for, but for some reason I have a thing with New Year's resolution that I'm just like, it makes me cringe, number one, a little bit.
Yeah.
And then second of all, I just don't like it because I feel like I have to be like, I feel like you're gonna, if I tell you my New Year's resolution,
yeah,
somewhere down the road, maybe in March and April, you're like, hey, remember when you said that you weren't gonna...
Isn't that a good thing though? That they can help you like achieve your resolution then?
No. I don't know. I don't quite believe in the term New Year's resolution, but I can see why people do it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, good for you guys, or oops. Good for people who make New Year's resolution because I feel like, this time of year, there's a lot of like positive energy and kind of like a new life that people are like, you know what? It's a new year.
Yeah,
I can do anything.
It's a new year. Why not? This year you're gonna... Okay, well... This is where I'm coming from. I believe in growth and I believe in, I don't even want to say believe in, like it sounds so strong of a statement, but it's just like.
But New Year's resolution in general sounds really strong to me.
No. So like how I do it is when I journal, which is very rarely, definitely every year at the end of the year, I will have like a year in review, kind of like our podcast episode last week. Where I just like reflect on the year, like anything goes, and then have my plans for next year. And it's usually like 5 bullets of like things I want to improve on. But I'll have one overarching focus. Maybe that's a better way of saying it than resolution. So
I'm not even done with like, I just don't like the word.
Well, it's just like, it's this year I'm going to focus on this piece of my life that I'd like to grow on.
So here's maybe just another way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Is the fact that, like you, I also believe in growth and, improving myself. But at the same time, I feel like it should be a constant thing, right? It doesn't mean that, in the new year, like it can, like just because it's a new year, it's January, doesn't mean that you are all of a sudden coming up with a new set of goals, right? If you're... It's not saying that you're not, but like, I think if someone is serious about their goals and they want to continue growing, these goals should be, changing and like evolving.
Sometimes you need to like have a kickstart, and like what better kickstart than a new year to be like, okay, it's new, let's start fresh, let's do it. This year I'm going to focus on. And then you have an end date too in mind, which is a very easy end date.
Yeah. Okay, well, so we'll just agree to disagree.
Yeah.
And I'll call it something else. But
And I think because I have seen success in my own life with my resolutions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, share some of those resolutions with us this year so we can keep you accountable.
Oh, for this year, my overarching focus is to minimize. Oh. So I want to declutter. I want to have a more simple life, be it with friendships, with work, with anything. I want to feel like I'm just simpler. So that's kind of where I think my New Year's resolution is. Usually I just have one.
Yeah.
I think there's always I have sub ones, but then that I'll write out to be these are things I hope to achieve too, but I never really get to it. I just have one main one that I remember, because it's hard to remember 5.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I like that overarching one. Simplify.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah. The year before, for 2019, my resolution was to stay home more.
Did that happen?
It did happen.
Yeah.
It happened because I set little things where I would block out dates on my calendar to be home. You have to stay home. And then we got good food delivery, which forced me to stay home at least 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Which was amazing because I could be no, sorry, I can't because I have to have a good food delivery. So I think in those ways it has helped compared to a lot of other years where I'm every single night I'm out or I'm doing something, or
I feel like I'm still maybe a little bit more in that phase because I'm not married, so I don't have someone to
totally. The year before that, I think it was read more books, and I read 15 books or something.
That's great.
Yeah. And part of it was because my friend got me a Kobo reader. So that helped a lot. But yeah, things like that. It's when you focus on one thing, I feel it's a lot easier. And I don't do numbers anymore. You have to read 15 books or anything. It's just read more. Do something a little bit better than what you're doing.
You know what? When you say it that way, maybe I can be convinced. Because when people talk about New Year's resolution, it's not one overarching thing. It's really specific things.
Yeah.
And I feel I've been maybe taught to set goals that are measurable.
Yeah,
and,
the whole SMART
goals.
Oh, I hate that.
I hate that. So that's daunting to me. So I feel I take the same approach when setting these New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
And unlike you, I'm if I have to go to the gym, it's 4 times a week. I have to lose X amount of pounds.
Yeah.
So I feel that's daunting.
Yeah. Because then you're wow, I can't do I'll do the book example. I can't do 15 books. How am I going to have time to do all of that? And then you get discouraged by it. And then you see other people being oh yeah, I had the same resolution and I've achieved it already. And you're what the heck? Okay. So when it's just for me personally, when I keep it broad like that, and it's just this is what I'm going to try to improve on and take those opportunities that I have when I remember my resolution to do it. It's so much easier. And I probably achieved more than I would have if I said I'm going to read 10 books this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, if we're going through the overarching theme, I think mine for 2020 would be convincing myself that it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
And when
that's
I say
huge one.
And when I say no, that I can't
queen.
And when I say no, I can't feel bad about it or guilty about it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel I have so much trouble.
Oh my gosh, I can send you so many books about that.
I have so many challenges at saying no to people.
Oh, it's so hard.
And I feel I want to work on that, but I feel bad for kind of maybe letting people down.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think I was just talking to you about a conference that I went to back in November.
Yeah.
And it was a colleague of mine that I just maybe passed by, and she was oh, let's catch up. And this girl and I haven't talked in, I want to say 5 years. Maybe more than 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't even, I have nothing in common with her.
Yeah.
And I'm yes. And then as I was saying yes, my brain was like, why did you say that?
Yeah.
Like, I was like already regretting it.
Yeah.
And I just feel so bad. And I'm like, okay, great. Let me take your number down and like, let's do this drinks thing.
Yeah.
And I feel
it's hard. For
I
sure.
just am like, oh, and so I told you, so this was back in November, and it was already leading up to the holidays. And you know how busy like holidays in December gets as is.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to fit this random person that I haven't talked to in 5 years into a December calendar.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would I ever do that?
Yeah. It's so like the craziest time.
So like I think those are the moments where I'm like, you know what? Like you just need to leave it and say, maybe, you know what? Like, oh, I'm making compromises. This is already really bad. I was like, oh, maybe we can have coffee at lunch or something.
No, I think that's part of it though, right? Like where you don't commit the whole way. And it's like, you shouldn't feel bad about being like, oh, like I'm compromising, but at least you're doing something for yourself.
Okay.
You said no in your own way.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I remember
and it's
that.
like baby steps too.
Yeah. I just remember that moment as I was saying yes to this person.
Yeah.
And my mind was like, oh, I'm so sad that I'm going to be missing my spin class.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know that feeling when you're like, oh, I'd really actually rather, I don't have any plans on that day.
I know. I hate that when you have nothing and you don't want to say no because you technically don't have anything and you're available.
Yeah.
But you don't want to.
Yeah. I think I need to do a better job of, saying no and feeling like, it's okay to say no.
Yeah. Well, keep us posted on how that goes over this year.
Okay. Well,
it's hard.
It's so hard.
I want to see what you learn.
I don't know. Give me those books, man.
Yeah. I'll send them over to you.
Yeah. And part of the reason why I want to say no is because there are things that I actually want to spend time on and work on. Yeah. And one of them being our podcast. Yay. So, obviously we've done a lot of work with this. And I feel like if we want this to grow and if this is something that we want to continue doing, that I need to start dedicating more of my time doing. Mm-hmm. And then I think on top of that, we need to start learning more about this space. Right? Like,
wow.
Kind of like, yeah. Well, just like, because I feel like there's so many people in Toronto that are doing podcasts who really.
Yeah, I hope we're standing out.
We've gotten obviously great feedback from you guys, from, our family and friends who listen to it, but it would be nice to get some feedback and see what other people are doing too.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're probably facing the same challenges and all that great stuff. So part of the reason why I want to say no is because, I think it would be good for us to start, for myself at least, to start focusing a little bit more time and carve out a little bit more time to work on something that I really like.
Yeah. I guess for me, it's like kind of opposite because I feel like, we don't really talk about it, but there's a lot of work that's involved with making a podcast. And I don't want to bore you guys with like the details of that. But there's a lot of like planning and talking, discussing logistics, things like that, which all are like the administrative parts of making a podcast. And I think for me, like my goal is really just to have fun with the entire process.
Yes,
and like not.
That's really important to us.
Yeah. Like this ultimately is a fun podcast. Hopefully like the goal is that people enjoy listening to it. They have a good time.
Listen to it.
Sometimes when we drink, we get sad and it might get really depressing, but overall, we hope that you guys have fun and get to know us, and it's like hanging out with friends. Yeah. So I think for me, like that's kind of the goal, just to remember that and kind of have fun. Yeah.
Another thing, I know that I kind of maybe mentioned it on our last week's podcast about career, and it's one of the things that I keep thinking about, and maybe we'll continue thinking about in 2020, and something that I'm also trying to work on is, I say this every year and it sounds really sad, but I really want to find a workplace that I can actually stay at for more than 2 years and grow. Because I feel like I've been making all these jumps, and it's great because every single place that I've been to, I've learned more and I've gotten a better position and, you know, put myself in a better position in terms of like compensation and benefits and things that really matter to me in a workplace. But I feel like I'm now known to be like the girl who leaves the workplace after 2 years.
Yeah.
And maybe
millennials.
Yeah, but like, so that's another thing. I don't know if it's normal, right? To be switching jobs so often. And maybe it is a millennial thing where, you know, people don't, it's not like our mom and dads.
Yeah.
They stayed at their jobs for like, you know, 10, 15 years and that was how it was.
Yeah.
Right. And in their mentality is like, oh, you're lucky to have a job. Right. And I don't have that same mentality.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I truly believe that, you know, a workplace is like any relationship. Any friendship, any, you know, relationship that you have with your husband or your boyfriend, it has to be mutual.
Yeah.
Right? And you have to have the same respect for each other. And if that gets compromised and it doesn't match anymore, you got to leave.
Yeah.
And I think I just haven't found the one for work.
Yeah.
I'm looking for it this year.
That's interesting. I think like coming from somebody who's been at their job for 5 years now.
I honestly,
way too long.
when you first started at that job,
yeah,
I wasn't sure you were gonna.
Me
last that
neither.
long.
Oh my gosh, me neither. And I even now I'm like, I don't think I can last that long, but I'm still there. So yeah, I think that's really like hearing your perspective on that is really interesting because I have always imagined myself being somebody who will jump every few years and I want to find the next job or whatever that will like get me more money, get me more experience, go somewhere. Like, I don't know. I'm always looking. Like that's part of who I am, I think. Yeah.
And I think it kind of speaks to our personality as well as, you know, sevens.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to our Enneagram ones, go back and review that.
Yeah.
So this is part of it. And I'm wondering, like, is it just in my personality to be like, oh, well, that's over now and I'm done having fun here. It doesn't excite me anymore. Let me look somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's the part of me that is constantly looking.
Yeah.
Or is it I'm a millennial and this is a normal thing for me to do, or I just haven't found the perfect workplace for me.
Yeah. I have no idea. I mean, I don't know. As a 7, I've ended up at a place for 5 years, so somehow it's worked and you survive. But yeah, I have no idea because every time I'm like, ooh, now I want to be a travel agent.
Yeah.
Like working in tourism now. Yeah. Oh, I want to do marketing places.
Yeah, sometimes when I stop and I'm like, maybe I'm just looking for the chase. Yeah. I like the chase because I don't get it anywhere else in my life. This is the only time I can seek it.
This is a sad podcast.
Yeah. Well, so
anyways, on that note, what are your goals for life this year? So friendships, relationships, travel, what else?
Travel is a good one. So this year we haven't set plans for anything, like any big trips yet, which is kind of surprising because usually it's planned way in advance and I know exactly what our travel plans and our calendars would look like going into the new year. Yeah. So this one's kind of ambiguous, so that'll be exciting to look at more places, to see where we want to go. But for right now, we only have one trip planned. It's actually at the end of this month. We're going back to Portugal.
I love Portugal.
I think we probably talked about this on our Wanderlust episode as well, that Portugal is definitely one of my favorite cities.
Yeah.
Countries. Portugal is actually my favorite country, and we'll be going back at the end of the month, and we'll be traveling to Porto this time because we didn't go last time.
I've heard so many good things about Porto.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. But other than this trip in January, nothing is set in stone. So
Really?
if you guys have any recommendations, I've heard Croatia was a really good one that I should put on my list.
Oh, yeah, that's on my list too.
Yeah, I would say Croatia is on my list. London's also on my list. I've never been to London. But it's so expensive
Yeah.
that I'm like, oh, I don't really know if I want to go. And then the next one is Greece. I also want to go to Kenya.
Ooh,
But
yeah.
so we'll see.
Yeah,
We can't do all of them this year, but definitely time to do some research to see where we'll be traveling this year.
Yeah, that's exciting.
What about you?
Yeah, for us, I mean, obviously every year we talk about how much we love traveling and things like that. But I've never been to an all-inclusive.
What?
I know. Are you surprised by that? I don't know.
I feel like I'm a little surprised because that's something that I feel like people were doing maybe in university.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I like completely missed that stage. And I've always been doing these like big travel trips where you're like doing a lot of sightseeing and like exploring, those kind of trips. And we've done cruises, but I've never done just like an all-inclusive where you stay in one place for an entire week. And the idea of it just sounds so appealing to me now.
I was saying, because of the way that you like to travel and the things that you like to do, I know that you mentioned that your best day in Japan was, you know, at a hot spring by yourself. So I'm like, well, you can do this for 7 days.
I know. Okay, so this has been on me for about 2 years now, at least. Just like, I really want to go on a beach vacation. I really want to do nothing. And we've been to Japan, we've done London, and like all these places in the past 2 years, which has been amazing and I love them, but I'm so tired. Like,
just want to relax.
Old.
No, I think it's totally fine if you want to, you know, just a beach vacation.
I want to have a vacation where we book it and then you don't have to plan anything else. It sounds so appealing to me. I'm like, why don't people want that?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's on the list, and I guess
Any,
it's just
like particular destination that you would like to go to for an all-inclusive?
I really want to go to Sandals, Bahamas, which is really expensive, so I don't know if we're gonna do it. But I've been selling the point that they have teppanyaki, so I'm really hoping that he'll agree. But
I feel like he'll come through.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm pushing the teppanyaki. And then my family does a big trip annually, and this year they're going to Alaska.
Oh,
So we're doing an Alaskan cruise.
nice.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then because it starts in Vancouver, we're going to spend a few days in Vancouver. So
I love Vancouver.
Yeah.
What time of year are you guys going?
it's going to be summer. So like, yeah,
That'll be nice.
it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm super excited about that. It's been a while since I've been back to Vancouver, and every time I've gone to Vancouver, it's been rainy.
Yeah.
So
We lucked out the last time we went to Vancouver. We went in March,
yeah.
and it was beautiful.
Oh, every time.
We were only there for, I want to say 4 days, 3 nights.
Yeah.
And we had beautiful weather. We rode our bikes along Stanley Park.
Yeah.
And then ended up at Granville Island and had lunch there on the patio. So, I mean, he did get food poisoning at the end.
Oh, no.
So,
Where did you guys go?
to this sushi place, actually.
What is it called?
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
So to cross it off your list.
Okay, yeah.
But it was so funny because he got food poisoning, but we actually booked because it was for work for both of us.
Yeah.
So we didn't book the same flight.
Yeah.
So he got food poisoning and just was dying on his own.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, it was so bad. But other than that, he got food poisoning on the very last day.
Yeah.
So that was fine.
I'm like super excited to have sushi again because since we've come back from Japan, I've been disappointed or just like just not interested in having sushi in Toronto.
Yeah.
But going to Vancouver, I feel like it's going to be good again. And I feel like Japan didn't really have good sashimi. Salmon sashimis particularly. And Canada has better salmon. So I'm really looking forward to some like amazing salmon sashimi when I'm there. Yeah.
That'll be good.
Yum. Now I'm thinking about is sushi. we're like on our second half of the bottle of wine right now.
Yeah.
So like, I'm getting really hungry.
You gotta power through. There's still so much we need to talk about.
I know. Okay. Trips. Continuing with trips. Big cottage year.
Ooh.
So yeah, like a few cottage trips are being planned.
Already, eh?
Yeah.
This is January we're talking about.
I know, but that's
in the
why.
Summer? Okay, wow, okay.
So yeah, like a few with family. And you have to book them early. So,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then like bachelorettes.
Yeah, you have a friend
big one this year.
That's coming
so
up.
yeah, like honestly, I don't know how I'm gonna fit it all with limited vacation days.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking like a lot of plans are still up in the air.
Yeah.
So who knows? And I want to leave because it's freaking cold and it's winter and gloomy and depressing here.
Yeah. Speaking of bachelorettes,
Yeah.
one thing that might surprise you guys.
Are you?
I'm not.
Every episode is just gonna be like, is this
the one you tell us?
Yeah.
No, Joanne. Speaking of bachelorette parties, one thing that might surprise you guys is that I've never been on a bachelorette trip.
What? Oh, why didn't you come to mine again?
Because I'm going to Portugal.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to Portugal the same year. That's why I
Right.
didn't come to yours.
Right.
But none of my girls, except for you, are married.
Oh, yeah.
So, in terms of friendship and like big milestones, I'm really crossing my fingers, hoping that someone will get engaged.
Yeah.
So I can exercise all of these party event things
Yeah.
that are in my head. And
We're
like,
looking at you.
we'll cut that out.
Yeah, no, I'm keeping that in.
So I have a couple girlfriends who are in great relationships. So I'm really hoping that one of them will get engaged.
Yeah.
Our friend in Hong Kong, maybe.
Oh,
You're so weird. But yeah, like that's something that I'm looking forward to. I feel like 2020 is bringing like really positive vibes. And
resolution.
that's not a resolution. It's out of our control. But that's something that I'm really looking forward to. And then in terms of family is also a really big one. My sister, I cannot believe it, is going into her third year university, like just like that.
Yeah.
I remember like when she was still applying and everything, and now she has like another year and she's done.
Yeah.
Well, she
that's
won't be done,
insane.
but
yeah, they grow up so fast.
Yeah. So that's really exciting. And then also another thing that I want to work on this year is having more patience for my parents, because they're getting so old.
They're not that old,
No,
but yes,
but like
I get what you're saying.
Like
Yeah.
we're getting old. We're obviously growing up. We're hopefully one day getting married. You're already married and having children and all this stuff. We don't realize how old our parents actually are.
Yeah.
Are getting.
Yeah.
Right. So it's something that I've definitely realized in the last couple of years how they're just a little slower now. And I think I'm realizing that more since my sister is out of the house now, and I worry about little things because my sister's not around to watch them.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, especially in the winter in Toronto nowadays, a snowstorm and everything, I think about, hey, when you guys are driving, make sure you go drive slow. Like little things that, when your parents used to nag you about, I say to them now.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm noticing a lot more.
You realize you've hit midlife.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm repeating the same things that like my dad is saying. And,
yeah.
But you know what? I realize that, I just have to have a little bit more patience with them. And spending more time with them every time I get a chance to, that would be good, I think.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a huge one. Like just having more family time. I think you don't realize it in life because like you get so busy, or like I'm talking about myself, but you get so busy with like work and then feeling tired and not wanting to go out, but then you have friends and all these obligations, and then your family kind of just gets left to like whatever remaining days you have. Like, oh, Saturday lunchtime I'm free, we can have dim sum or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it's hard because you actually start seeing that they're getting older and things like that, and
they're forgetful too.
Well, my parents are not forgetful yet.
I think mine are getting there.
Yeah.
So they'll just like all of a sudden, like I'll tell them something and they would kind of just brush off their heads like, oh, you didn't tell me that. I'm like, pretty sure I did.
Yeah. I think it's harder with like my grandma, like my only grandparent that's still alive now. And every time I call her, her like voice gets a little bit more like tired or elderly sounding, you know, like that, like like weaker.
Yeah.
And that's always really heartbreaking. Every time I talk to her on the phone, it's just like, man, like she's getting a lot older and I really need to be spending more time with her. Like that could be the last conversation I have with her and things like that. And that's hard. Definitely to have more family time is on my list as well.
I also think, obviously, we just talked about friends and how exciting it is to, you know, hopefully one of them is going to get engaged this year and whatnot. But I also, on the same kind of line, making time for your family, it's also making time for your close girlfriends, because our lives are going to change drastically in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Right? People's priorities will change, and the time that we do get to spend together will also be different. Right? Because our priorities might be our family, our husband, or your kids.
Yeah.
Right? So everyone will kind of be, you know, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
So I feel like for me and my girls, because none of us are quite there yet.
Yeah.
I think we should definitely kind of take advantage of that and spend as much kind of girl quality time that we can together before our lives change.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, it's more about focusing on quality friendships. I think it's so
100%.
easy to get, to spread your time out across a lot of different friendships, but not all of them may be friendships that you really want to carry on or like see potential for the rest of your life or something like that. And I think at this age, it gets really hard to maintain all those friendships. So really just focusing on the ones that matter is one of my focuses for the year.
Okay.
Yeah. And like, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Maybe we'll try another episode in 2020 about friendships.
Maybe we'll try it. We'll see.
Well, we'll plan it out.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Because I feel like I have some stories to tell about, you know, cutting people off and really.
The one you left in 2019.
Exactly. Why am I talking about her? This is in the past.
Yeah.
I've moved on.
Life lessons.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this year. I think it's going to be so full of mind rejuvenation.
Very deep here.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it'll be a lot of just decluttering. I think it's a new start. And for me, I'm looking forward to just kind of having a more simple life with good friends, good relationships, good wine.
Yes.
And great conversation on our podcast.
And I will practice saying no.
Yeah.
And on that note, cheers. And Happy New Year. And we'll be back with new content next week.
And share with us your resolutions or what you think on our Let's Talk Basic Instagram page.
And we'll keep you accountable if you let us know your
wow. Okay.
We'll talk about it next year.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the Let's Talk Basic podcast. For more exclusive content, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Let's Talk Basic.